Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. In order to bring in a big all-star, the Warriors will need to change their roster for next season. Teaming Stephen Curry with Anthony Davis is a great thing. Davis would bring all the size the Warriors need to the court, as well as grabbing countless rebounds and having a level of scoring. Remember that Anthony Davis is one of the best defenders in the NBA. Rumors: new NBA duo will make an impact if the Warriors manage to sign Anthony Davis. Stephen Curry hasn't regressed with the Golden State Warriors in year 16. The Davidson legend continues to showcase his unique handle and commendable off-ball movement in the Bay, averaging 24.4 points per game while shooting 44.5% from the field and 39.7% from three-point range. However, judging by the Warriors' early season struggles, the organization needed to pair Curry with another superstar to get itself back on track. Luckily, the Warriors struck gold by acquiring Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat before the February 6 trade deadline. The Warriors are far from title favorites, but their 18-5 post-NBA All-Star Weekend record suggests they've finally found their rhythm. Still, assuming the Dubs come up short in the postseason, they could help Curry, a four-time NBA champion, surpass LeBron James in the NBA championship race, if the Los Angeles Lakers also disappoint, by acquiring an ex-Lakers star big man in free agency. Although Anthony Davis struggled to avoid the injury bug in Los Angeles, it's unlikely he expected to get traded to the Dallas Mavericks on February 2. Davis, a superb screener, elite ball tracker, physical low-post offensive threat, and undervalued shot blocker who won a title with the Lakers in 2020, made his presence felt on both ends when healthy. Davis has only appeared in 7 contests with Dallas, but his last 2 performances should temporarily silence his doubters. After recording 34 points and 15 rebounds against the Atlanta Hawks on April 2, Dallas notched 27 points and grabbed 9 rebounds against the Los Angeles Clippers 3 days later. Crafting a compelling trade package to lure Davis away from Dallas would be challenging for the Warriors. However, considering they have plenty of assets to dangle in front of the new-look Mavericks, they could complete a notable off-season trade and elevate their mediocre frontcourt. Kerr reveals Moses Moody still hasn't taken the step Warriors fans thought he had. Slightly concerning on the eve of the postseason? Among a raft of positives for the Golden State Warriors over recent months, the development of Moses Moody has been a huge storyline after years of battling through an inconsistent role and playing time. Moody has become the 3-and-D wing many previously envisioned, having taken advantage of Andrew Wiggin's departure to become a key starting piece on a team that now holds championship aspirations. Since becoming a full-time starter on February 13, Moody is averaging 11.6 points and 3.1 rebounds while shooting 38.1% from three-point range and becoming a big part of an elite defensive group. More importantly, the Warriors are 19-5 during this period and are an incredible 25-5 in games Moody starts this season. Moses Moody's minutes with the Warriors will still fluctuate. While Moody and the team's form would suggest that he should have taken a huge step into a guaranteed 25-30+ minute per game role, that's not necessarily the case as we enter the final week of the regular season. Head coach Steve Kerr revealed on Sunday, via Tim Kawakami of the San Francisco Standard, that Moody is seemingly the odd one out of Golden State's starting lineup. While Stephen Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green will almost always be part of Kerr's closing lineups, Moody is one of a host of players who may be the 5th guy to finalize that unit on a game-by-game basis. Pre-game, Kerr made a point about the rotation beyond the top 3 or 4 guys, including Podziemski. Said any one of the other guys could close any game and then not close the next depending on matchup and moment. That group: Kuminga, Moody, Post, Santos, GP2 and Looney. Just hours after those comments were made, Moody played only 14 minutes in the Warriors' 106-96 loss to the Houston Rockets at Chase Center. It was the 22-year-old's lowest playing time since January 13 against the Toronto Raptors, with Kerr preferring Buddy Hield, 25 minutes, Gary Payton II, 22 minutes, and Jonathan Kuminga, 19 minutes, as alternative options off the bench. It's hard to argue that was the wrong decision given Moody was ineffective in his limited playing time, finishing with 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting, 1 of 4 from deep, while being a -11 in the 10-point defeat. Given Golden State are an incredible 14-1 with their current lineup, no one is suggesting that Moody's starting role is in jeopardy despite Sunday's quiet performance. However, it is an indication that the former 14th overall pick still needs to earn his minutes, rather than simply walking into 25 minutes a night based on reputation. It may be slightly concerning that Sunday's limited playing time occurred on the eve of the postseason, but that shouldn't mask Moody's otherwise excellent form and his status as one of the biggest positives from the Warriors season. Warriors have potential nightmare play-in tournament matchup that must be avoided. This would be an awkward matchup. The Golden State Warriors kept themselves above the play-in tournament positions with 2 huge wins on Thursday and Friday, having beaten the Los Angeles Lakers and Denver Nuggets to remain 5th in the Western Conference standings. There remains all to play for over the final week of the season, with anywhere between 3rd and 8th still possible for the Warriors, who have now won 21 of their 26 games since the blockbuster acquisition of Jimmy Butler. Golden State must avoid the play-in tournament and a potential nightmare matchup. The Warriors know just how dangerous the play-in tournament can be, having been eliminated after back-to-back losses in 2021 despite finishing the regular season as the 8th seed. There is currently a huge gap, 7.5 games to be exact, between the 8th seed Memphis Grizzlies and 9th seed Dallas Mavericks, but that doesn't particularly paint a picture of how dangerous those lower-ranked teams could be. 3 teams, the Kings, Dallas Mavericks, and Phoenix Suns, are currently battling for the 9th and 10th spots, having each faced significant issues over the second half of the season. The Mavericks are half a game ahead of the Kings, while they're 2 games ahead of the Pacific rival Suns. As unfair as it may seem given the gap between the top 8 and the next 3, there will be a one-off elimination game between one team from each group. There's plenty of reasons for Golden State to avoid the play-in tournament, but one of them is to ensure they don't face an awkward elimination matchup against the Mavericks. Dallas have been completely ravaged by injury over recent months, not to mention their own self-inflicted wound of having stunningly traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers. The Mavericks are just 8-14 since the All-Star break and rank 24th in net rating during the same period, not numbers that scream danger come the postseason. However, Anthony Davis has just returned from injury and Dallas have won 4 of their 5 games he's played in since March 24. The former Lakers star had 34 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks against the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday, suggesting he's still capable of huge performances that could prove dangerous in an elimination game. A healthy Davis was dominant in Warriors-Lakers games prior to the trade, with the 10x All-Star averaging 32.8 points and 12.3 rebounds in his last 4 non-injury impacted games against Golden State. Then you have the Klay Thompson factor. Another meeting against the Warrior legend in an elimination game would add another layer of interest, particularly given the 5x All-Star would want to respond from his last play-in tournament game where he went scoreless and shot 0 of 10 against the Kings last season, his final game for Golden State. The fortunes of the respective teams couldn't have been much different since the All-Star break, but an elimination game against Davis, Thompson, and the Mavericks is still not a position the Warriors want to find themselves in. Warriors playoff standings, updated scenarios, schedule for Golden State in 2025 NBA bracket. With just 1 week left in the regular season, the NBA playoff picture is still very murky. The Warriors are once again a playoff threat, as they are entering their first playoffs with Jimmy Butler alongside Stephen Curry. However, Golden State is still in danger of playing in the play-in tournament, so they will need a strong close to the season to ensure they earn a top 6 seed. While there is not a lot of time left in the season, the Western Conference still has a lot to decide before the playoffs begin. Here's a breakdown of where the Warriors stand entering the final stretch. Warriors playoff scenarios 2025. Entering the final 4 games of the season, the Warriors still have a lot to play out. Golden State has a 46-32 record, one of 4 teams with that record in the West, so the Warriors could still rise or fall significantly in the standings. The Warriors can't earn the 1st or 2nd seed in the West, but they could rise as high as the 3rd seed if things break their way. On the other hand, Golden State could then fall as low as the 8th seed if they have a rough final week of the regular season. With the Lakers sitting 2 games ahead of the Warriors, and the Nuggets half a game ahead of Golden State, the Warriors have work to do to rise ahead of both those teams. It is also possible that the Warriors are at the whims of tiebreaker scenarios, which could make a difference between clinching a playoff spot and playing in the play-in tournament. Currently, the Warriors would finish second among the 4 teams tied in the standings, which would be good enough for the 6th seed. Warriors Standings 2025. The Warriors are one of 4 teams with a 46-32 record, which is the 5th best record in the West. Those teams are fighting for the final 2 spots in the playoffs, as the other 2 will have to play in the play-in tournament next week. Here's a look at the Western Conference standings. Ranking team record games back. 1. Thunder 64-14. 2. Rockets 52-27 12.5. 3. Lakers 48-30 16.0. 4. Nuggets 47-32 17.5. 5. Clippers 46-32 18.0. 6. Warriors 46-32 18.0. 7. Timberwolves 46-32 18.0. 8. Grizzlies 46-32 18.0. 9. Kings 38-40 26.0. 10. Mavericks 38-41 26.5. Warriors remaining schedule. Date opponent time ET. April 8th at Suns 10 p.m. April 9th vs Spurs 10 p.m. April 11th at Trailblazers 10 p.m. April 13th vs Clippers 3:30 p.m. Warriors potential playoff opponents. With so much still to be decided, the Warriors have a variety of potential playoff opponents. Currently, the Lakers and Nuggets own the 3rd and 4th seeds in the West, so the Warriors could play either of those teams if they make the playoffs. However, if the Warriors get a spot in the play-in, they could play any of the Clippers, Timberwolves, or Grizzlies, all of whom are tied with Golden State with a 46-32 record. Additionally, the Lakers and Nuggets haven't clinched a playoff spot, giving them an outside chance of falling to the play-in.